Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 285 of the Drunk Nashers podcast. I'm your host, as always. I'm Tyler. And joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Tyler. I'm doing all right. Just got finished off with a crazy week of work. Been playing more WoW. Been doing some other stuff. But, man, I don't admit, man, it's kind of interesting that we're already at that point of the summer where it's getting closer and closer to fall. And on top of that, it's like, man, just like the days are just slipping ever so closer, like quick, much more quickie. Much more quick.
Ooh.
In terms of stuff. But anyway, other than that, though, it's like, how have you been doing, Tyler?
I'm doing all right. Just like you, long week of work. Not been what's supposed to be, a slow summertime at work has not actually been that so much, really. June was a slow month, and we went right back into craziness. But much like it's just like I was thinking about that. We've been talking about work. It's like it's crazy here in a few weeks. It's like we're gonna be right back into it with busy season and all that. But on the positive side, I was thinking about it too, where it's like football's back. Preseason's on now, so that's great. It's something. But I keep on my my phone. I have like a notes thing, and I track a bunch of different notes for like tracking like bills and budgeting and hours. But I also have a note for like video games and keeping track of like when games come out. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I do that is because I have on a couple occasions pre-ordered the same game from multiple websites and got multiple copies. So, and I do a part, like I have things to do where I bold it if it's, I have them typed out, and I bold it if I pre-ordered it. I put an asterisk on it if I've already paid for it, things like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I put the dates when they're coming out, what the game is, and dates coming out, and I was looking at it. So, this week, episode 1 of Walking Dead came out. Next week, I got nothing coming out that I'm aware of, anyways, I'm interested in. But after that, I have 4 straight weeks of a game coming out.
Wow.
So let me pull my notes up real quick so I can memorize them all, because I just a couple of them in space on mine. Here we go. So April 28th, Fire Pro Wrestling. I've already pre-ordered that one. September 7th, Spider-Man. 14th, Tomb Raider, and then 4 games in 5 weeks, and then Life is Strange 2 comes out. So in a 5-week stretch, I have 4 games that I'm all equally looking forward to. Sucks for that, because then there's like nothing I'm looking forward to for almost 2 months. Because then like nothing else comes out until like mid-November. Because Red Dead Redemption and all that shit. But it's just kind of crazy. We're almost there. Like I'm like keep seeing like photos and like videos of Spider-Man and like foaming at the mouth at that game. The more I see of it, I'm at the point now where I just kind of avoid it best I can. But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, it's just crazy how we're it's almost it's almost that time of year where we're gonna be. There's probably not going to be a lot of news, but we're going to have a bunch of games to play, which is great. I'd rather have it that way than the other way.
Well, yeah, man, most definitely. I mean, it just kind of took me by surprise. Like, even the past couple days, I just looked upon, like, sites and just realized, like, oh my god, Spider-Man's coming out pretty fucking soon. Then all of a sudden, it's like, going to check down there, it's like, oh yeah, Fire Pro Wrestling's this day. Then I look upon it, because a lot of the games I'm looking forward to come out in December. So like, I got Super Smash Brothers, and then you have the Persona Dancing All Night games and stuff that are supposed to be coming out like the 4th, so with a span of like 3 days. I'm just debating whether or not I want to go through and purchase that, and then like have Smash Brothers as well, because it's like, man, no matter what you're looking at it, man, it's like you got $100 for this edition like this Persona Dancing game, right? Which includes like the Persona 5. And then the Persona 3, like, dancing games. But it supposedly is, like, from what I was looking at just a moment ago, is the only type of edition that has that Persona 4 Golden. The one I platinumed on the Vita.
Yeah.
But, But what I'm just getting at overall, it's like a lot of these games now are coming out so quickly, and there are so many of them I still want to go back and play, and it's getting to the point now. There's so many good games releasing in the span, and just such a short time on the digital storefront, the retail storefront, that I am literally drowning in good quality games.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like I've already got like I've been doing a pretty good job of getting through my backlog stuff of like games that came out this year or I bought recently. Like I've been talking about like a few weeks ago. I've been trying to get better at not buying games so much and sticking to the games. I have that like how's it go? It's like paralysis analysis or whatever. Paralysis by analysis, where like you have too many things you want to do, so you just don't do any of them, or you just like you spend like 10 minutes trying to decide what you want to do, or you do like 3 minutes of everything, and you end up not just doing any of the things you want to do. Like, there's a show I want to watch. I want to watch the next episode of this show, but I also want to play this game, but I also want to watch this show. But there's this other game I want to play too.
Yep.
But then there's also this YouTube video that looks really interesting. And then it's like, I'm just gonna go on Twitter and like scroll in there for like 10 minutes. It's like, I don't have time to do anything. So we're trying to get better at that. I've actually caught up. I beat a couple games. Not really. I don't know. Not really beat a couple games, but I caught up on those games. But I also bought 2 games this week. Well, yeah. I don't know if I said it on the show, but I bought it like towards the end of last week. I bought Vampire.
Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a game I've talked about before. I've been really looking forward to playing it. Just waiting for a sale. Went out on sale for $40, but then I have the Best Buy Unlock thing, I think it was called. Excuse me, where you get 20% off all the games you buy, and then I had some Best Buy bucks. I got it for like $7. And then Metal Gear Survive was $10, and I hate myself, so I bought it. So those are 2 things I have to play. I don't really have. I'm at the point now where it's like games are coming out that are like all these games that come out in the next few weeks are all like 3 of them are like Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, open world games. Fire Pro Wrestling, I don't know what that game's gonna be. Like as far as like time consumption wise, could be a few hours, could be endless. I don't know. So I'm like, it's too like those 2 games are fairly long. It sounds like. So I'm like, I don't really want to dive into those games. But I was, I'm thinking, this could be great extra life game, saving for that. Or I'm like, I have like 6 weeks span where in like basically October is wide open for me, so I might play them then. I don't know yet. So I have those sitting there. I'm gonna play eventually. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like it's kind of snuck up on us. Like in July, we were just like jonesing for anything to talk about and play.
Yeah.
And now here we are. I kind of wish I would have bought bit the bullet and bought Vampire in like July and played it then. Because I'm worried now I'll just never get to it. But I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so speaking of games, it has been almost a month since you and I have done like a regular what we've been playing.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, so like there was we did a normal show a few weeks ago, and then I was in Vegas, so we did like it's kind of a weird offshoot rainy day topics podcast. And then last week was just an insane amount of news, which was actually a lot of news this week again. But we're actually gonna spend some time and we're gonna talk about what we've been playing. Gables?
Yes.
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first this time around.
Okay, sounds good, buddy. Go ahead.
All right, so to start things off, I've delved a little bit more inside of the Dragon Ball FighterZ like season pass stuff. What I've been doing originally is, I had a craving to play some more Dragon Ball FighterZ and stuff, but I went ahead. I think I explained this a couple like last time we were saying what we've been playing, but I bought the season pass. I got like about the 6 characters so far, from characters like Broly, like Fuse Zamasu, the Goku and Vegeta original forms that were just recently released, among others and stuff. And I've had a chance to play through all of their like combo modes and stuff like that, their combo challenges, and I gotta admit, man, I mean, I was having some fun trying to relearn how to play specific portions of the game and how to try to work together specific combos and stuff. I gotta admit, some of the more easier ones I was able to grasp was guys like Broly and Bardock, because a lot of their combo moves are very simplistic in terms of trying to build yourself up into like some sort of combo move. I think I've noticed like there's maybe like one combo for Broly that you can actually do while he's in the air and stuff, but that has to, what I mean is like special wise. And one of his specials you can actually go in the air and stuff like that and execute. there are other characters previously that you can do like multiple types of specials and stuff with their air combat, but the quality of the characters themselves actually feel very well done and very fleshed out, and I'm really impressed because it matches the tone and the quality of a lot of the different characters already presented inside that game. Now what I'm waiting for is the last two, because in this season pass they promised 8 characters, the Guilty Gear developers, and so what we're waiting on is next month there will be Cooler, which is the brother to one of the enemy characters inside the game Frieza. And then the last one, it hasn't been announced yet, but because of data mining and stuff, most of us already know what the character is, and we believe it's going to be Android 17, which, if that's so, then hell, I would love that, because inside of the Dragon Ball Super, he was also a very good fighter in terms of the whole world, that universe tournament and stuff like that. Stuff that, obviously, my fellow co-host here is not going to know much about. I mean, he's only here for the game.
Yeah. I'm already lost.
I know. Man, I'm just not even going to...
No, you're fine.
Yeah, man. I'm not even going to try to explain certain things, because you got to... In order to get like a good understanding of the game itself, you don't have to know Dragon Ball Z or the Dragon Ball universe in order to enjoy the game. But for someone like me that's actually delved into this series for over 20 years now, it's crazy to think that it's been over 20 years since I first watched Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, I've gotten so much enjoyment and so much fun out of this game that, man, it just amazes me, from going from watching the show and then going through the first few games of the franchise and stuff, and absolutely like having a terrible time playing games like Legacy of Goku and stuff like that, or the Game Boy Advance, which I still hold up to this day, even though our former colleague Jake may have disagreed at one point, but I absolutely hate fucking Legacy of Goku.
Still one of my all-time favorite moments is when you told me you hate that game.
I know, the reaction.
Yeah, I gotta go dig that up somewhere. I gotta find that. That's
oh
great.
Boy. And I would suggest to people, the listeners, if you don't know what game I'm talking about, go ahead and research on YouTube Team 4-Star and their playthrough of Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku for the Game Boy Advance, because you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about. Because back then, I played through the entirety of that game. I had to buy a freaking player's guide. I remember this. I had to get a player's guide in order to get through the last portions of the game. And what was very much of a big ol' FU is at the end of the game, it allows you to, and I quote, I shit you not, you could press the select button while starting a new game and you would be invincible. I mean, that would have been nice if that was actually a code you could actually input before you could beat the game. But the fact that they had to include an invincibility mode in the game that was already tough as shit, even on a base setting, man. But anyway, I'm dragging off right here. But anyway, Dragon Ball FighterZ, that game is still amazing. I'm looking forward to how it does on the Switch, because that is going to be a fantastic game to pick up for people who want to play that game on the go. Which, you know what, I would highly recommend people. I would just much rather play fighting games personally myself with a controller, and not on the handheld mode of the Switch. Because the thing about it is, it's the button layout, really. Because the D-pad stuff is just those square buttons, the regular buttons on the right part of the Joy-Cons and stuff. But anyway, other than that though, I had been playing a little bit of stuff on the Switch, not a lot. I managed to go through a few more levels of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Nice.
I have not beat the first boss of the first world. I'm going through this game probably at a snail's pace, because I've been playing this game a little bit off and on when I've been bringing my Switch to work. And I gotta admit, man, it's going through these levels, they're so silky smooth so far. I haven't had too much issues with it. And I can understand how some people, when they get up to the bosses and stuff, that it could take a little bit longer for them to beat them. Because when I was facing off against the first boss, the main boss of the first world and stuff, yeah, it took a couple bit more tries and stuff to actually knock him out.
The seal?
Yeah, the seal. The whole seal thing that's sliding up and down that ramp and stuff. It's not difficult. I just have to go through and just sit down and just make myself go through that go through that friggin' boss stage and just beat him. But because of how little time I had on my break and stuff, I couldn't really finish it up at the moment. So I look forward to doing that a little bit off and on. I did play a little bit of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I was showing one of my friends because she has a Switch and stuff like that, and she just she's been wanting to try to get Mario Kart 8 and stuff. So of course, during lunchtime and stuff, I brought my Switch along and I let her see what I was doing and stuff. And she loves Legend of Zelda stuff. She was very tickled and stuff like that by singing Link and stuff on his his motorcycle and stuff like that, and all the themed course and stuff. Man, it was just kind of like a fun little excursion things. You know how you go through with friends and stuff? You show them new games and stuff that they've been interested in or they're interested in possibly getting, and then just, oh hey, I have it right here. Let me show you how it's done. Blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. But I played a little bit of that. Off and on, I've been playing another game on my Switch called Voez or Voez, Voez. It was a mobile game. I have touched bases on it in the past, but I casually play this game on the go whenever I have a commute or something like that, or I'm in the back of the car and just going to places. I just play a couple of tracks and stuff on easy mode. It's just a really soothing, relaxing game. I think it's around $25 on the Switch, but it's well worth it if you love good music games on the go. Along with some other good music games that I think Tyler and I have played through before, which were the Frederick games.
Fuck yeah, man.
Seriously, if you love music games, you gotta try out both of those Frederick games. They are constantly on sale in the eShop for the Switch, and you will definitely have a good fun with it. Even if you just play through it once or something like that, at least give it a playthrough. It is fantastic. Both of those.
I think they're only a few dollars to begin with, and I constantly see them on sale for under $1.
Oh yeah. Yeah, seriously. So they are well worth the price. But the main game that I had been playing this week was a bit more of World of Warcraft. So it's Battle for Azeroth released earlier on this week. Like I said before, last week, I did buy the expansion and stuff like that, but I have been going through the starter courses for a while because I'm still learning, I'm still new at this. And basically what the starting points are is basically some remix mainline quests for the vanilla version of WoW. And I learned recently, this past week, that I'm not going to get to the first expansion until around level 60. So it's I've been having some of my friends basically show me a few things how to do things like fishing, how to get things like resourcing, how you do blacksmithing, because you can have multiple different types of professions. You can learn different types of ways to cook your food or to level up proficiencies for fishing and blacksmithing and the sorts. But also, there's a couple interesting features that I kind of like in this game, where it's you can mail off certain items and certain pouches, different types of higher inventory bags to other players and stuff in the game through a actual kind of mail system inside the game, which that's kind of cool, But what I also kind of delved into right here was the whole aspect of the whole microtransaction stuff. Now, I'm not one to actually go through and use microtransaction stuff, not in the least. For this game, I actually kind of made an exception for just to try something, really. So one of my friends has been talking about this thing called a WoW token, right? Where you pay basically $20, and you get this token, right? And what you do with this token is it can be used for multiple different types of things. Either if you get one of those WoW tokens from the auction house inside WoW, you can actually exchange it for actual cash in terms of Blizzard balance and stuff to use towards other games made by Blizzard and such like that. Or you could actually sell it to get over 100,000 gold or something like that for yourself, for your character in WoW. So I tried that because I was just legitimately curious what would happen if I actually do that. So the whole auction stuff lasts for about a couple hours, and so basically, let me explain this. The auction house in WoW is basically a whole like a smorgasbord of other players going through putting things like items, weapons, heirlooms, and like different other types of things for actual like auction stuff for sale in terms of how much gold or something like that somebody could actually bid on it. You can actually bid. It's basically a WoW version of eBay, quintessentially. And yeah, I ended up getting my gold and stuff. I got a couple of bags and all this other stuff from one of my friends. And the thing about this is, like, one of my friends, she helped me out tremendously by giving me bits of like gold that she had like in reserve and stuff, so I can buy some of these things called heirlooms. Which some of these heirlooms can be like specific pieces of armor or specific pieces of equipment that you can equip onto your character. So she helped me get specific pieces of armor, so where there's a specific number, a percentage that's added on when you're leveling up by doing questing and by doing like things like killing creatures and stuff. So I believe I got around, gosh, maybe an extra 15-20% more through leveling up stuff, plus any other types of additions and stuff you do. Like, say if you join a guild, that's also another like 10% increase. So basically, Tyler, this is a bit more math focused than I thought it was going to be, but
I love math, and I'm lost.
I know, I know, Tyler. Just bear with me.
You're fine. You're fine.
It's basically, there's just specific things you could do to help you increase your experience points faster. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
I understand that one. I understand that 100%. I'm a big fan of that.
But I will say, I was playing a little bit of Warcraft today with my character, and I basically got to level 40 very quick. I was at level 38 to start for the day. I just did a couple of quests, and I was noticing I was making things like, I was making like 10,000 experience points off of this and this and that and stuff like that. And I'll admit, it actually made me feel like a little bit more like happier in terms of, hey, I'm progressing actually a bit further now, not just stuck in sort of this dead-end space. Because I will say this, man, it's like I think I've completed now close to around half of the mainline quests, and that's me doing side quests in general and actually completing different areas. So freaking World of Warcraft is freaking huge. I've almost spent an entire month playing this game off and on, and it's going to be like another week or something like that until my actual legitimate first month is wrapped up. But from then on, I'm actually happy with a lot of the progression I've done. I've gone through level 1 all the way up to level 40. And that's very impressive in terms of, well, my progression. I don't do that. I don't really do that in RPGs that much anymore. But it just comes to show you, inside of a video game, if you have friends that legitimately love playing this game and are willing to help you out here and there and give you a few tips or give you bits of like pieces that you need to help you progress through something like that, it makes the game a lot more interesting. It makes it a lot more bearable. But other than that, Tyler, I know it's been long-winded, but that's pretty much what I've been playing.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you're still enjoying the game. Well, not glad. Still scared. I'm still scared this might end the show. But
this is not going to end the show.
I'm just worried. Never say never. No, I'm happy. I'm happy having fun. There's only a few episodes left, guys, so enjoy one of the last.
He's just next week. I'm just totally obsessed with it. It's like, oh my god, Tyler, I gotta do this. I gotta one more level. God damn it.
See, I'm gonna get like, I'm gonna start getting like, man, you got to go without me tonight. Something came up, and I'm gonna like go online, and it's like, I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure out he's playing. I'm going like Discord, and he's on there, and he's like, fucking playing World of Warcraft or something.
And then it's probably gonna get so worse somewhere I'm playing like Warcraft in the middle of recording, and all of a sudden you just hear the key clicks and stuff. It's like.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that anymore. So I dealt with that for like 3.5 years. I won't name names, but they're not on this podcast anymore.
Oh, God.
So I would rather you didn't do that. But that's cool. I'm glad you're having fun, you fucking nerd.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. No, but I guess going on what I've been playing a plethora of games over the last few weeks.
Nice.
I played a bunch of Switch games. on the flight to and from Vegas.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm gonna focus on a couple games I played recently, actually. And as of recently, I mean like like today. Uh, so, uh, well, so one of the games, Madden 19,
Yeah.
came out last week. It came out on August 10th, which was a Friday. I paid the extra $20 and got it on the 7th, which was a Tuesday. But, well, not really. They had a discount if you bought it digitally through Madden 18. You got 10% off.
Mm-hmm.
So I saved $8. So I paid $12 more to get it 3 days early, which for me, crazy to me, makes most sense. The amount of hours I put in this game, totally worth it in the long run. But I'm not gonna talk about Madden 19, the game itself, because it's Madden. There's things I love and hate about the changes in this game. I can go on super deep into if I want to. The thing I want to talk about really, and actually, is the Longshot mode.
Okay.
Which people don't remember. Last year they added a story mode called Longshot, which was like a TellTale-esque story mode, where you play as Devin Wade and his best friend Colt Cruz, who's a wide receiver. Devin Wade's quarterback, and he joins. He was a former quarterback of Texas. He left and joined the Army, and then he wants to go back. He found his passion for football again, and he wants to go back and try to get in the NFL for the draft. And he joins this like reality TV show where he like gets trained by like Dan Marino and a lot of like great legends and stuff like that. And there's like based off like how you do in these events and the story. There's a million different ways that like not really a million. There's like a half dozen different ways where you can the story can end. Where you can get drafted and your best friend Colt doesn't. You both get drafted. Neither get drafted. One gets drafted. Basically, there's a lot of different ways it happens. In this game, it takes place. It's called Longshot Homecoming, and it takes place a year later. At the end of the first game, either way, you both get whether you get drafted or not, you end up on a team, and you end up getting signed to go to a training camp and try out for a team.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends. In this one, it takes place. It's the next season, this current season that we're about to start, and Devin Wade got cut by the old team, and whoever, because basically it was like you pick your favorite team in the beginning. And at the end of it, Colt gets picked by your rival team. So, like my favorite team's the Packers. He got drafted by the Bears, and then I got drafted by the Packers, and that's how it ends. But in this one, it's just like so he got Devin Wade and Colt Cruz both got cut, and now Colt Cruz is trying to get. He's like calling people, trying to get on a roster to just try out. And Devin Wade is he's signed with the Cowboys, and he's it's training camp. He's trying to make the roster, and it's only a few hours long. I beat it all in one sitting. I didn't even mean to. It just kind of flew by.
Wow.
So they got one of the big things they changed is they got rid of like the TellTale style of it, where you have to you can pick dialogue choices. That's just gone. Now it's just cutscenes, and in this, so you go through, and Colt, it's really corny. I don't know if I think I like the first one better from a story perspective, because it was more grounded in football, and there was some personal stuff in it, but it all kind of went back to football. This one, it kind of delves more into, like a teenage drama or something you see on TV. So Colt meets his dad. Who he hasn't seen since he was 3 years old, been over 20 years. He finds out he has a stepsister, and his dad ditches his stepsister, who's a teenager, who's still in high school, and now he finds out he has a stepsister. Now the stepsister's living with Colt, and he's trying to get his life together because he has no money, and he's trying to just get on a football team. And no one's answering his calls. And then Devin's trying to make the team on the Cowboys. And it kind of goes through. So another thing I don't like is in the first game, like you had like basically one shot at drills. You like all the practice modes. Like if you didn't like, all right, score a touchdown. Go like you got to travel 80 yards down the field and score a touchdown. If you didn't score a touchdown, you failed. Whatever your grade goes down. So the odds you get drafted are less. And in this one, like you fail, it just says try again. So in some ways, like. I mean, it's not like that all the time, but like in the end, like a lot of the same things just happen regardless of what happens in the game. Like if I fail to score a touchdown on this drive, the next drive it didn't really matter all that much. As long as you score a touchdown eventually, you or whatever the goal is, it'll happen. So it really kind of took away all of like the multiple different options that can happen. It's just basically just long. It's more of a linear story. So it's a pretty decent change. But overall, I mean, I really did like it still. I enjoyed it because it's more football. There's, like I said, the story parts of it are more personal, but the actual gameplay portions of it is more football. So like you'll have like flashbacks where you go like when like Devin and Colt were playing on the high school football team, and then like Colt ends up becoming the head coach of their Texas football team and high school football team, and like you basically play like 3 or 4 different high school football games, which is actually really, pretty fun. It's close as I'll ever get to probably playing an NCAA football game again, at least for a while, if ever. So that part's fun. And then you do a lot of Devin Wade. You play a lot of like practice modes with him, like where it's like, all right, you're playing against the Cowboys defense, so you need to score a touchdown. And this, you need to travel down. You got like normal stuff, 10 yards good, first down, all that, blah blah blah. Go down the field, score a touchdown. And then you play more in-game stuff. You do all a bunch of preseason games, and then I don't really want to spoil it too much, but I don't know. It all kind of wraps up a nice little bow at the end. But then there's like, it just feels like, what's the name of the movie I'm trying to think of? Where they're trying to close something. They have like a contest, and the guy wins and saves it. I can't remember what it is. Like South Park made fun of it with like the avalanche thing, or with the skiing thing with the pizza and French fry.
Oh my god!
I can't think. It's like an 80s movie.
It's like an 80s
but it's like
movie.
Yeah, so it's like so Colt like the high school football team, Mathis used to be like they were like this legendary high school where they're always like in the running for national championship. Now they hit hard times.
Yeah.
And this is super early on. The famed head coach, the legendary head coach, he passes away in the middle of the season.
Right.
So Colt has to take over, and also deal with his sister, who he's never met before. But within like 20 minutes. Now all of a sudden, they like love each other and the super like they all care for. Which I don't know. It's really corny. Just like how quickly they go from like never met to like now like they're the most important people in their lives, and like how like Colt had seen his dad since he was 3 years old, and now they're like totally cool.
Oh my god!
It's all really weird, but like. So the whole thing is like it's like straight. It's a ripoff of like Friday Night Lights season 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Where like all right, so we're gonna. Well, I guess Friday Night Lights, it was different where they're going to split the district up into 2 different and make 2 high schools. And this one, they're going to merge 2 different districts into 1 high school. And they're trying to stop that because, like, hey, Mathis is too important. It's too important that this town, this high school is, the football team is. Can't do that. And, like, there's this evil, like, millionaire guy. He's like, no, we're going to merge it. We're going to make this $1 million stadium. And, like, it's like, all right, make this agreement. Like, all right, well, if you guys are 0-4, if you win out, you can and raise $250,000. We'll keep the team in Mathis and all that blah blah blah. And it's like this evil like construction guy. He owns like a construction company, a millionaire, and he's like trying to like undermine them in ways. And like this is like
a bad 80s movie.
Yeah, it is. It's just a complete ripoff of like an 80s movie. Is what it is. I mean, it's not like it's better than I'm making it sound.
Yeah,
like, it's not awful. Like I don't hate it. Like necessarily, I felt like it was super corny, and I liked the first Homecoming. The first one was way better. Was way better than this one is. I think part of that maybe is too, with the fact with Longshot. I mean, the first one was way better because I think part of it because we didn't know what to expect. like this could be great and this could be terrible. And this one, it's just like this wasn't even announced until like 3 weeks before the game came out. Like nobody knew this was a thing. And then the guy who plays Colt Cruz, who was Jason Street in Friday Night Lights, I can't remember the real actor's name. He put a screenshot of it on his Twitter account, like mid-July.
And that's how people found out about this.
Yeah, and it was super weird. Like, okay, that's weird. Like, why aren't they like pushing this more? Because when FIFA did it and they brought it back, like they made a huge deal of it 2-3 E3s in a row. Wow. And this one they didn't do that. So I still liked it a lot. I liked the gameplay portions of it more. I think it helps. It's only a few hours long. You can, like I said, I beat it. It's probably closer to 2 hours than 3. But like I said, I like the gameplay portions more. The story is subpar. But I mean, it's just kind of laughable at points how bad it is. So I was entertained at least from that aspect of it. So I don't really know. I don't know. I would still say, like, if you have Madden, check it out. Like, I thought Longshots was like, this is worth buying Madden for alone.
Yeah.
I thought that's how great I thought Longshot was in last year's game. This one, it's like, you don't need to buy it to play this. It's only a few hours. If you can like Redbox it and you like the first one, check it out. I still think it's a shame that they never like released the Longshot mode separately for like $10 or $15.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. But
like just for like digitally, just throw it on the store for $15 or something like that. Because I think that was great. Because it was like super easy. I think for me, anyways. I think for like someone jumping into it that's more of a casual fan or doesn't really even care, but just wants to in there for the story aspects of it. It was still really easy and fun to play. And this is too. It's a little more difficult, I think, than the first one, but it's still really fun. So yeah.
I have a question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Were there togas?
I wish.
Was there a float parade at the end?
Dude, if there was, it would have been 10 times better. I really wish we would have had it.
It'd be like a scene from Animal House, you know? Just like the whole freaking, like, just chaotic, like, football and shit.
Mm-hmm. That's a good comparison to Animal House, where like when they're trying to save the fraternity.
It just sounds like a bad rendition of Animal House without all the good parts.
Yeah, it's just really weird. Like where they like it's almost like the first one was like 85% Devin Wade and like Colt Cruz was there for along for the ride. Yeah, as your sidekick. And this one it's like 50-50. They're like the co-stars now. And actually, I would say it's more Colt Cruz's story than it is Devin Wade's story.
Wow.
So which I'm not totally against. I think I enjoy the gameplay portions more of part of Colt Cruz. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Like I said, this is not like worth buying for this game. If you can find it super cheap, check it out or Redbox it, whatever. I still think it's fun if you like the first Longshot. But yeah, this is not worth going back into for $60. But the other game I played is TellTale's Walking Dead's final season, episode 1. So people that, I say it every time we talk about TellTale games, is I only ever talk about them the first episode of a season and the last episode of a season. I'm not going to come back after episode 2 and 3 about it and talk about it. I'll come back when episode 4 comes out. But I love TellTale games. I played every single one since Walking Dead season 1 came out, except for the Minecraft games, but the Minecraft episodes. But yeah, so this is I'm kind of confused on it. It sounds like they're saying like this was supposed to be the final season, but it's the final. I think it's more like the finale for Clementine, the character. Maybe not so much Walking Dead itself. So they're kind of leaving that loophole in there. If they want to go back to Walking Dead, they can. But really, the big thing about this is it's Clementine's last season. This is going to wrap up her character arc with this game. This is the 4th season with her in it. The 5th season of Walking Dead overall for TellTale. It's been a 6-year-long journey, I want to say, 2012, 2013.
Yep.
2012. So when Walking Dead first started and TellTale blew up. And it's... so in this one, I don't really know how old Clementine is in this one. In the first game, I think she's 8. And I think in season 2, she's like 9 or 10.
Uh-huh.
And then season 3, she's like, I think I want to say like 12 or 13. And then in this one, she's probably closer to like 16 or 17, maybe even 18. I don't really know. I don't think they really even know themselves. TellTale does. So kind of going through real quick what's going on with the catch spoiler alerts for these games if you haven't played them already. Spoiler on 6-year-old games. So a lot of this game is that it's kind of a recap in a weird, in a kind of a funny way, where in like it's like a 3 or 4 minute recap. They spend like 70% of it talking about season 1, 25% of it talking about season 2, and then like 5% talking about season 3.
Huh.
So it kind of tells you right off the bat how important this stuff is. Like really, you can play season 1, kind of get the majority of what you need to know going into this. I still like it for the aspect of when the conversations you have with people, they still bring up stuff that happened in like season 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know the importance of this game, season 1 is probably the most important. So in season 2, one of the characters in the group you're with is pregnant. She has a baby. She dies during pregnancy, during the birth. And at the end of season 2, you are, depending on the decisions you do, you end up with a baby regardless. But there's different things that lead off into the end of that. And then season 3, it starts off a few years later, and you no longer have the baby's name is AJ. You no longer have the baby, and you play as I can't think of his name, Jarvis or something like that. And you meet Clementine is not a playable character, but you do flashbacks with her, and you learn about what happened to her in this gap. She loses AJ. This group takes her away from her, and then somewhere between 3 and 4, she gets AJ back. They haven't really explained how yet, if they are going to explain how. But she ends up at the beginning of the season. She has AJ back. He was still only a couple years old at that point. Now he's a little older, probably like 4 or 5. So in this one, you guys, Clementine and AJ are living in a car together, and just drive around looking for supplies, and they find this train station, and find food, get attacked by walkers. This is all in the first 20 minutes of the episode, and then you bump into these kids save your life. And a good comparison here is like Lord of the Flies, which is a book that I think most of us had to read in high school. Where a bunch of kids are stuck on an island together. In this one, there's like this like private school for kids. That it's just the kids now. They run it. All the adults left and abandoned these kids. So now it's all ran by a bunch of teenagers and some smaller children too. And they're all in this walled off nice private school. And not nice. It's all run down, but it was a nice private school. And it's all about these kids trying to survive. And you have this. Kids probably about the same age as Clementine is basically in charge of the place, and they're all trying to survive and blah blah blah. Hard to talk about, obviously, always is with Telltale games without spoiling it. But the one thing I like about this, I kind of see the comparisons, is that in season 1 where you're Lee and Clementine, you're basically like teaching Clementine. She saw everything you did. And what you did as Lee kind of was like would mold Clementine, who she would become. Like if you were ruthless, she would become more ruthless. If you're more caring, she would become more caring. Blah blah blah. And in this game, it's kind of cool where it's like now Clementine is Lee in this scenario, obviously much younger. But then AJ, who's a little bit younger than what Clementine was in season 1, is kind of in that same scenario where now now what everything she does. Is kind of molding AJ into who he will become, and it's kind of cool too. Where like there'll be like certain situations where it's like it's great because it's been, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years since the beginning of since the zombies have happened, the walkers have happened. So this has been this really well lived in world, kind of like Last of Us was, where it's like so much time like the Earth is taken back, kind of the planet in a way. Like you see a lot of plants growing everywhere. Things a little more run down. And AJ, being born a few years into the zombie apocalypse, he has no idea what certain things are. Like an oven. Like, what the hell's that? He finds like a toy that's a policeman and a firefighter. He's like, what are these? He doesn't know what those are. So I think that stuff's kind of cool. And it's just kind of like, oh wow, okay, like he never would know what that is. And that's, I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. But it's just kind of like it's great because like in season 2 and 3 they didn't really have that. Which season 2 was okay. Season 3 I thought was pretty good. Obviously, season 1 was fantastic. And this one, it's going off. It's going in a good direction. Its first episode was positive, I think.
Good.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that. This season's only 4 episodes, and one thing I really like is before episode 1 came out, they already had a roadmap of when the other 3 episodes are coming out. Like there's like one every 6 weeks. So like the last episode comes out like mid-December.
Wow.
Obviously, it doesn't mean it's going to hold true. They said schedule is obviously can change at any point in time, but I'm happy to see that because obviously the biggest knock against TellTale has always been like its random ass release schedule. Where, like you can go a month in between episodes to like TellTale the Borderlands took like almost a year to come out. Like there was like 3 or 4 month gaps between episodes. So to see them stick to it, and they've done it before with like Batman, I think. Or I think Batman or last season of Walking Dead, where it's like we're gonna do an episode every month, and they stuck to that. So I hope they stick to this as well. But yeah, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm happy where it's going. I'm hoping the 6-year ride with Clementine ends well, and I'm hopeful for the future of that character. All right then. Well, moving on to some of the news. We're gonna kind of continue on with. A lot of stuff happened. We talked about a lot last week, but a lot of stuff has happened since then. With the IGN and Philip Mewson, I think is how you say his last name.
Yeah.
Should really figure that out. So last week we talked about it quite a bit about how the thing came out with Dead Cells and he plagiarized with Broomstick Broomstick Gaming. I'm sorry. And then Jason Schreier came out with some stuff about how with FIFA 18 for the Switch, some possible plagiarism there, and then also with Metroid's Samus Returns for 3DS. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Philip had his not so much an apology video, but he had his like rebuttal, I guess is the best way to put it, a video that came out super bad, and he took down with in about like 12 hours later. Didn't apologize for it. Kind of just said it didn't. He didn't. If it happened, he didn't mean for it to happen. It was totally accidental, which I think most people kind of saw through the bullshit. And he went from being. I think some people had some sympathy for him to. I think at that point everybody kind of like at that point everything was gone. Any goodwill he had left was gone. He challenged Jason Schreier of Kotaku to like, hey. You found the FIFA thing. If you find more, like keep digging. If you find more, let me know. And then like at that point, when we recorded last week, the Metro thing came out. Ooh. Well, since then,
oh boy,
it has gotten way worse for him. Where there have been now it seems like about maybe another dozen or so occasions where he has like. And it's actually like worse in this case, where like there were word for word copies off. Like he had, no, I don't think there was any other like that was on IGN. I think there was a couple like him talking on like the Nintendo Voice Chat podcast, where like he talked about a game and like things he said were very similar to other things that were said elsewhere.
Wow.
But if you like on his YouTube page, where he talks about when he was like reviewing things or talking about things, like he had word for word ripoffs of like forum posts on like random forum pages.
Holy crap.
On Reddit, on Reset Era, things like that. Like things that are posted well before he posted them on YouTube. Like, and I've seen a couple of videos of it where it's like it is word for word that. And I saw like people posted links to like the forum posts, and they were weeks before he did them. He actually like has like reviews and. Maybe it's novel reviews and like thoughts and opinions on other videos that were like ripped off of like IGN themselves, like they're essentially plagiarized the company he would eventually work for, and it finally got to the point where between IGN came out and had a post, Dan Stapleton did, who was one of the head editors at IGN. He's like one of the top 2 or 3 guys in the company. Eventually came out and said, in between what you guys have found and our own research themselves, they have pretty much all but wiped clean the anything to do with Philip as best as they can, outside maybe the podcast he was on and some videos.
Yep.
pretty much everything about him on the website. Not all of it's gone, but the majority of it will be gone, and some of it will be redone by other people on the website, much like they did like their Dead Cells review when they re-reviewed it. So yeah, they have. Philip is pretty much, like you said, he is he's obviously fired long before we recorded last week, but yeah, like he made it much worse for himself. He basically said you won't find. He basically challenged the internet, and the internet won in this case. So I guess Gables coming out of it. I mean, looking at this, what we have now, where are you at on this? Do you think IGN's doing the right thing by scrubbing his image and like kind of the way the internet's acting? How do you feel on this?
I feel like that IGN is in the right this time for scrubbing any likeness of Philip from that website, because in and of itself, it seems like to me, from the various things that I have seen, the various things I have read from him since then, and also from the various stuff that's come to light thanks to Jason Schreier, who stupidly Philip decided to challenge, and instead of being, inside of a lake or something like that, no, the dude basically opened up Niagara Falls on himself in terms of challenging not only him but anyone else to try to find any other types of instances where he's attempted like plagiarize stuff. And it comes to light that he has been doing this, it looks like, since day one of him doing YouTube stuff. So pretty much in and of himself, he burnt a bridge. He burnt like everything down after the events of him leaving IGN, to the point where he just basically, in one fell swoop, blacklisted himself from anything gaming media related. In just those few instances where he goes through, uploads that YouTube video, challenges Jason Schreier to a freaking journalism gaming e-reader, like e-freaking penis contest, and in and of itself, the internet is basically like the whole parody video thing with Donald Trump and stuff like that. And basically, the internet's like having this freaking e-penis on the dude's shoulder and stuff, and just whispering in his ear, "This is America." But, anyways, my overall thoughts of all this, man, I don't have any sympathy for this dude. I don't feel sorry. I don't feel hardly anything. All I'm just saying is this dude was basically a con man from freaking day one, it feels like. I don't know. What do you think, Tyler?
I'm with you. This guy was basically came out. He's a fraud at this point, really. And like, man, it's super weird. Where like, it sounds like the greatest thing in the world to be like, you get a good YouTube following and then you get a job at IGN. That sounds like the greatest job in the world. Like, I would love that job. Not to say that I would be good at it or I would deserve it. Like, I have my writing skills are not great and blah blah blah. But I'm obviously not the greatest podcaster in the world. It's dumbfounding. Like, I guess when you're like in a smaller scale, it's easier to get away with this stuff. But eventually, like, you got to get your own opinions. Like when we first started this podcast, like I would rely heavily on like other people's opinions, and I wouldn't like necessarily like steal them, but I kind of like take like this, and this, and I kind of like okay, and I form my own opinion on them. And it took me a good long while to kind of like understand things better for myself, and like not like we don't like really review games on the show or anything like that. Like we give our opinions on games. We don't put scores on them. Like some games we play for 20 minutes, some games we play for 30, 40 hours. And I've gotten much better at kind of forming my own opinions while playing games and looking at it more from a reviewer's eye, I guess. But when I first started this, I didn't know how to do that. And it sounds like this guy kind of like started off that way to a much worse extent, where he just worked for he'd go on the internet and just like search for whatever his topic was for the video. And like, I like that. I'm going to take that. And he would just write it. He'd just copy and paste it and read off the script. And he just never formed his own opinions at all. And he just kind of kept doing it.
He built everything off of lies, pretty much.
Yeah. And his whole channel is built off lies. So Brian Altano, who's one of the, probably one of the faces of IGN. He's been there for nearly a decade now.
Yep.
I'm going to read his Twitter post he had. So he stayed silent on it. He didn't talk about it at all for well over a week or so.
Yep.
And he had a fairly long post on Twitter about this whole situation. And I'm just going to read it through here. So bear with me for a moment or two. So this is all from Brian Altano. And I quote, "Hey, I haven't spoken much about the recent situation at IGN where an editor was fired for plagiarizing other people's works from around the video game industry. Today it really started weighing on me more than usual." And I think this was posted like on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. So a little like a day or so after everything came out about like all the like where they basically they decided to wipe everything off of the website. So everything started weighing on me more than usual. So here's what I have to say. For the record, most video game websites don't really have practices in place to stop plagiarism because hiring people who love to write and talk about video games from their own personal perspective is the whole fucking point. Millions of people consume IGN's content every month, and many of them would kill to get paid to talk about video games for a living. It's not like in high school where you have 3 days to write about a book and you have no interest. In, and you have asked some book reports so you can pass and get on with your life. It's a video game. We hire you because you love them and you love to talk about them. Because why wouldn't you? That's why you applied to begin with. In video game journalism, you get hired because you fucking love video games and you can speak on them from your own perspective. I've been at IGN for 9 years, and the idea of somebody faking that but still wanting to work there is completely foreign to me. When I found out about this, I naively thought it was isolated in a situation where a person was drowning in deadlines and self-doubt about their own abilities and made a huge, isolated mistake in appropriating somebody else's work. Not justifying that, of course, as it turns out, it's but one incident in a string of possibly dozens. It's unheard of in the field full of passionate enthusiasts. This last week has completely fucked me up on a personal and professional level. It sucks. We let down our audience, ourselves, and most importantly, everyone that had their work taken from them. I'm genuinely saddened by the whole situation. I feel completely betrayed by somebody that I thought was a colleague, co-host, and more importantly, a friend. I know many of you do too. Thank you for sticking with us through this time. Love, Brian. End quote.
Wow.
So, as someone who was in that situation, who did a podcast with him every week, I feel like his opinion is probably the one of the more important in that whole entire company, and I feel like he sums up the best, really. Where it's like, we do the show because we love it. We love doing it. We don't have the biggest audience. We pay to do the show every week. We put the time in. We put everything together ourselves. We don't have anybody do it for us. And when he said that, I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, people want to, like, I've heard a lot of people like shitting on IGN, and like I said last week, it's easy to do. One of the biggest, they're the number one gaming website in the world, and even like you're one of the bigger ones. It's easier to get hated on when you're the best at something and the most popular. When you're popular at anything, you get hated on for no reason. And like they said, like, oh, people, like, you should have caught that. You should have looked into that. And like I said last week, where it's like, this guy did this for a couple of years, and nobody realized until this Broomstick Gaming video came out.
Yep.
And he probably would still be doing it forever. And no one really looked into it until that shit happened.
Until Boomstick Gaming himself actually went on record. It's like, wow, I think this dude just did word for word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like he got away with this for a long time, and like I said, nobody caught on to it until he did, and it just kind of, like you said, it just kind of opened the floodgates, and here we are. So, I mean, I don't have much more to say on that because, like I said, Brian Altano, I think, did it the best. Where, like that guy went from some, a little bit, you feel kind of sad for him. There's that mob mentality on the internet that's really shitty sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit there and like talk trash about this guy or dogpile on it, but in this case, he kind of deserved it to a certain extent. I don't want, like, people are threatening him or threatening his family.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I mean, that's fucked up in any degree. You don't threaten the guy's family and his life or anything like that. But the thing most importantly of all is that he should be deserving of this sort of a hatred to an extent, for his credibility in terms of his journalism and in terms of that. Nothing threats against his family or his own life. I mean, that is absolutely appalling.
Yeah. And if people do that, should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. But I'm one that believes in sometimes you gotta eat shit. We've all had to do it in life. Sometimes deserve, sometimes not.
Yeah.
In this case, he probably admitted himself. He to himself he might admit it, but maybe not to anybody else. He deserves to eat some shit in this case, and take his licks in this. Hopefully he comes out and apologizes and admits to everything. That'll help smooth things over. But I mean, obviously, after any shot this guy had left in the business is gone after that video, his YouTube video. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't blame IGN. I think it's a smart decision to do of scrubbing him from the website. Obviously, like that's always going to be there. He's still going to have. There's YouTube videos, dozens of YouTube videos with him on it. There's still going to be some articles up. This is still not something that's going to go away 100% anytime soon. But at the very least, they might have saved themselves from a lawsuit down the line. We're like, hey, we did our part, and we got all that shit off our website. So yeah, I mean, I think IGN's done everything they can in the situation to make things right.
Right.
And hopefully they don't see too much of a backlash for this. Hey guys, this is Tyler. So we went really long with this episode. So instead of releasing one super long episode, I decided to split it up into 2 different podcasts. This will be the end of this episode. Then we'll be back on Wednesday with the rest of it, talking about a bunch of Nintendo topics and a couple other topics as well, but mostly Nintendo stuff. So thank you guys for bearing with us. Sorry we went so long, but I hope you guys come back in a few days and check out the rest of it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Bye.